like. Let's do this. Guest number one. I think he's here. Is this the one and only Mr. Bob Bergen?
Oh, God, I hope there's no more.
Oh, there could be.
No. Let me. Can I cash his checks?
Well, you know what? If you can cash his checks, then you are guilty as charged.
Oh, there we go. Hi, you guys. How you doing?
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good.
This is so wild. Like, I gotta ask, like off the bat, it probably is so annoying, but how many times when people figure out like you are the voice actor for Porky Pig, do they start talking like Porky Pig to you?
Oh, that's a really funny question. I thought you were going to say how many times do they ask me to do it, which is often. But no, you know where they do it? They do it like at the Comic-Cons. They'll come up to me and they'll start doing Porky Pig. And you know, I'm polite and I listen to them, but they're actually literally asking me for my critique or like, do they stand a chance? And I'm like, you know, I mean, and I'm always nice. God bless these people. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't have a house. But you know, the bottom line is, I don't want them to be good. So, you know, as good as they are, I'm kind of hoping that they're not quite as good.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Now this goes to show you like the true difference in generations. Where, you know, my generation with yours, when you hear like voice actor, you're thinking to yourself just that, like Porky Pig, Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry. Think of, you know, stuff we grew up on. When I said to my daughter, one of my daughters, I said, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna have Bob Bergen on. He's a voice actor. And he does Porky Pig." And right away she goes, "It's instantly to IMDb," and she's like, oh, "He's Lupin the Third." I'm like,
"Oh yeah, she's gonna go to my anime stuff." Yeah, exactly. It's so funny. Again, going back to Comic-Con, you know, I will sit at tables and autograph tables and whatnot, and you know, the people that come up to me asking me about the anime characters or some of the more obscure characters that I've done in movies or games, as opposed to, you know, Porky Pig and Marvin the Martian and Tweety and some of the more high-profile Looney Tunes I've played. But this is the world we're living in. There is a fan for everything out there, and it kind of blows me away what the young people today know.
It really is weird. Like both of my daughters, my older daughter, she's 21, and my younger daughter's 15. But they are both, and it's really opened my eyes too, because we do like the whole Comic-Con scene and all that, and It's really opened my eyes over the last few years how much they know and how much they appreciate voice actors. Which, you know, and I feel like it's probably something that you guys didn't get your just due until recently. I feel.
Kind of agree with you. I went to my first Comic-Con probably about 20 years ago, and I taught myself how to draw Porky Pig. So when they saw my autograph, they kind of put the two together.
Okay.
And because nobody knows your face. Well, cut to today, you know, I mean, if I'm just going to a restaurant in Los Angeles, nobody knows who the heck I am. If I'm at Comic-Con for 4 days, along with, you know, my buddies Rob Paulson and, you know, Jeff Arnell, Billy West, for these 4 days, we're the Beatles. And no matter where we go, we're followed and looked at. And you know, it's an ego boost. It certainly is an ego boost, but I can also appreciate what people like Tom Hanks have to go through all the time. So I'm kind of blessed that the voiceover world gives us a little anonymity.
Yeah. I never thought of it that way.
You know, a few years ago, I did a cartoon. It was a sizzle reel, which is where they're trying to sell a project with Paul McCartney.
Okay.
And you know, I was just thrilled to be working with Paul McCartney for a day. And you know, we're just sitting there waiting to watch a piece of work, and I was like trying to make small talk, and I said, "Hey, Paul, I have a question. Was there ever a time in your life that you wish it had never happened?" He goes, "What it?" I said, "The Beatles." "Do you ever wish it had never happened?" He thought for a second. He goes, "Every once in a while in the men's room." Every once in a while in the men's room, you're just standing there waiting to finish, and you know people are looking at you. Every once in a while, they're humming Yesterday, and you're like, you know, if I was just a fry cook, or if I was just a salesman, I don't think I'd be getting this attention.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that's an amazing question, though. I would have been scared to ask that, maybe.
Oh, I have to tell you, I was like sitting there trying to, like, what do I talk about? It's Paul McCartney. What do I talk about? And he was very sweet. He was actually just as intrigued by my work with voiceover and Looney Tunes as I was with his work as a Beatle.
That's wild. Well, I mean, they're two iconic we can say statues here in entertainment history. I mean, the bodies of work of both are just, come on. It doesn't get much better.
Yeah, but he's an original Beatle. I'm like a second generation Pig.
But this whole thing is very interesting to me because, like, I was reading, like, you truly wanted to be Porky Pig, like, at 5 years old. Like, you said you were going to do this.
Yeah, it wasn't like I wanted to get into show business. I really wanted to play this one particular character.
Wow. That's like, I remember, like, being a kid and watching Looney Tunes, and I always wanted to, like, do Bugs Bunny, and I always used to imitate Bugs Bunny and stuff like that. And I even, like, when I was able to get a tattoo, like, I got Bugs Bunny tattooed on me. It was the most horrible tattoo, and
Did you get one?
I did. I had a Bugs Bunny and a Tweety Bird tattoo. But they were,
oh my
the
gosh! But as you get older, does Bugs Bunny become Granny?
You know what? It was so bad. The guy that did it just did such a horrible job. I was so disappointed in it. And like, I finally, two friends of mine, two of my best friends who I grew up with became tattoo artists. And I said to one of them, I'm like, you know what? It's time. I got to cover this up. It's so bad. It was just so bad.
I mean, that's fandom commitment.
Yeah. Oh, I that was like, Bugs Bunny was it for me when I was growing up. I was like, so Bugs Bunny, so Looney Tunes, the whole thing. It was like a daily basis. I used to just sit and watch the Looney Tune cartoons.
Absolutely, for all of us. I mean, that was what Saturday morning was all about.
Yeah. And it's funny too because I always remember, just the name of Mel Blanc standing out. Like, just every roll of them credits, I just looked for that name. I was just like, wow. Like, and I always would wonder, like, what does he look like? What does he do? You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't picture that, but here you tracked him down.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I was a kid, every once in a while, starting in the 70s, he would go on talk shows, and he started to do the PR circuit because he really wasn't well known. I mean, he did a lot of radio, but radio was a box, so people didn't really know what he looked like. A few people saw him on Jack Benny in the 50s and 60s, but yeah, I kind of made a point to look through TV Guide every week to see if he was going to be on something, and I did. We moved to LA when I was 14, and I thought, I'm going to call him and say, hey, listen, I'm here. I'd like to do this for a living. And I didn't think I was doing anything unusual or ballsy. I just thought I was calling somebody. I mean, if you want to be a doctor, call a doctor who's well known and say, hey, how do I do this? So I just thought, I'm going to call Porky Pig himself and see how I do this.
But it's even more impressive you got him on the phone, didn't you? Or you did some trickery?
No, I did. I got him on the phone. I also taped the phone call, so it's on my website. That's illegal. You're not supposed to be able to do that. But yeah, I recorded the conversation, and during the course of the conversation, he mentioned the name of the studio he was working at that week. So he didn't say the day or the time, just the name of the studio. So when I was done talking to him, I called the studio pretending to be his assistant. And I said, hi, I'm calling to confirm Mel Blanc's appointment for Thursday at 9. And the receptionist says, no, we've got him on the books for Wednesday at 11. I went, that's right. I'm looking at the wrong calendar day. I'm so sorry. So I told my mom, look, I'm skipping school on Wednesday. We're going to go watch Mel Blanc work. And she said, cool. So when we got to the studio that Wednesday, I told the receptionist that we were guests of Mel Blanc, and she pointed to me the booth he was in. And when I walked into his booth, I told his producer that we were really good friends with the receptionist. And the producer said, have a seat and watch. So that's kind of how I got to watch him work.
Holy cow. You totally worked the system at 14.
Yeah, but the thing is, again, I didn't think it was unusual. I just I want to watch Mel Blanc work, and I want to see this man in action. And it was very cool. We didn't have camera phones back then, so I have no pictures. I do have an autograph he gave me, but I don't have anything but a memory, and it's a great memory.
Now, I mean, so saying from, like when you first said, like, at 5 years old, you wanted to become Porky Pig, you wanted to be that voice, and then now here it is, 9 years later, you're still, following in that dream. Did your parents kind of think, like, wow, like, all right, maybe this is something he really, really wants to do?
I think, in the back of their mind, my nice Jewish mother wasn't thinking I want my son to grow up and be a pig, but I think in the back of their mind, they're hoping maybe doctor, lawyer, something substantial like that. But they also saw how incredibly focused and driven I was. So, I mean, I started taking voiceover classes when I was 14 and acting classes and improv classes. The only rule that we had was my parents will keep paying for these classes if I at least keep a C average in high school. And I got my first agent and my first voiceover job a week after high school. So I think, I mean, there are no guarantees in this business no matter where you are. You know, you could be a very, very successful actor, but your show gets canceled, or you know, you're a movie star and you do one clinker and all of a sudden your box office poison. So there are no guarantees in this industry. Bottom line is I do all kinds of stuff other than Looney Tunes. So I think my parents knew in their heart that I had the stamina and the drive. The guarantee, well, there's no way I had that. They knew that, but I was doing what I loved, and I think that's what made them happy.
Right. That's amazing. Now, how about like, do people just probably think, you do voice acting, you just talk into a microphone and that's it? You have to like really explain them sometimes. Like, no, it's like actual acting. You have to really. It's more than just reading lines. There is actual acting to this. You got to sometimes even like ad lib and be quick on your feet and do these things. Like, it's not so simple.
Yeah, all the time. In fact, you know, I teach animation voiceover, and I'll have people contact me and say, look, I want to do voices for cartoons, but I don't want to act. And I'll say, that's like saying I want to do ballet, but I don't want to dance. I mean, no matter how you slice it, it's called voice acting. And you're absolutely right. Tom Hanks has been extremely open on talk shows about how difficult that first Toy Story movie was, because until that movie, he didn't realize how much he relied on his eyes or a gesture to express emotion and intent. For voiceover and especially animation, everything has to be done vocally. You know, the script is a skeleton. The actor's job is to give it a body. So without basic acting skills, in fact, I won't let you take my class unless you're an actor, because you'll be wasting an awful lot of money and spinning your wheels, just not able to take direction, let alone come up with your own ideas. So you're absolutely right. Improv is a huge factor in bringing that script to life.
Wow. Is there a lot? I mean, do you get that a lot though, or is it just like like 1 out of 100 that will be like that say they don't want to do acting?
The majority, I would say,
really?
Will contact me, or will reach out on social media. It'll be like, I do so many great voices. I do a great Homer Simpson. Well, they haven't needed a Homer Simpson for 30 years, and they probably won't for quite some time. You know, people use my Looney Tunes example as a way to go. I got lucky. I just got, very, very right place, right time in my life. I happened to be working in the industry when Warner Brothers needed somebody because Mel Blanc had passed away. So the planets aligned for me. But, yeah, I'll tell people, look, study acting, study improv, become a great actor, and then study voiceover. And, for me, it was 4 years of voiceover classes, 2 years at an acting conservatory, 3 years of improv before I made that first demo.
Wow.
I mean, nothing happened by chance. I was real, and I still, to this day, every once in a while, will study or work out with a coach if it's something that I really want to work on, or if I find I'm getting kind of lazy, or it's a big job for a promo network, I might call a coach and say, yeah, I want to work out for about an hour.
That's amazing. That's wow. That's dedication.
Yeah, but it's no different. I mean, a person doing a Broadway musical at night is working with their voice coach during the day, or taking dance classes. I mean, just because you're working doesn't mean you can't improve, and you need to stay at a certain level to keep working at that level.
See, I just in my head, I just started laughing because I'm just picturing. I'm here in Philadelphia, so a big thing here that happened years ago in Philadelphia is Allen Iverson of the 76ers. He had the big thing where he didn't want to, or he didn't show up for practice, and the media was giving him a hard time. And they show the clip all the time. They were just showing it like a couple weeks ago when the Sixers were in the playoffs again, and he's just sitting there. He's like, "We're talking about practice. You're really going to give me a hard time about practice? I mean, are we really talking about practice?" This was his press conference. That was, and he just kept saying, he's like, "Are we really going to talk about practice?" And I just pictured him in his now saying that, and I'm like, that is the exact opposite of your work ethic.
Yeah. I mean, I've known people who are successful actors, and they start going through the motions, especially voiceover. But, the animation community, man, that's a hard-working group. We sit around and we watch each other at sessions, and we're just a mutual admiration society. And I'm learning. I participated in a documentary a few years ago called "I Know That Voice," and it was just every cartoon voiceover actor, agents, casting directors talking about the business. And I went to the premiere, and I'm sitting there with my peers, and I'm going, man, I'm learning stuff from my peers that I never knew. And if I can learn stuff where I'm at in my career, everybody can.
Yeah, it's true. That's very true. Now, I saw too. Somebody who was really important in. It sounded like he was getting into the whole world of voice acting. Was kind of pointing you in the right direction with Casey Kasem.
Yeah, well, we had a friend of the family who knew Casey, and when I graduated high school, they asked him to send me an autographed picture. So he did, and I sent him a thank you note. And I included my phone number, and I said, by the way, I want your job. And he called me up, and he asked me if I had a demo and an agent, and I had neither. So he said, make me a homemade demo, and just see if I like it, I'll give it to my agent. And his agent at the time, his name was Don Pitts, was in a hospital in an oxygen tent. And Casey went to the hospital and played my little homemade demo through the plastic for this agent. And when the agent, when Don got better, he called me up and he said, I'd like to work with you. So that's how I got my first agent.
Wow. Again, with it shows you the dedication of the entertainment business. Even in an oxygen tank, you don't stop.
No kidding. Yeah. I mean, he was. I also didn't realize I'd hit the jackpot. Don Pitts represented Casey Kasem, Mel Blanc, June Foray, Orson Welles, Paul Winchell, Janet Waldo, just royalty in the voiceover industry.
Yeah. Wow. So is that what led on to becoming Porky Pig, was through him?
Well, kind of. I mean, he knew Don knew I wanted to be Porky Pig. I was 18 back then, and he represented Mel Blanc. So he knew that was a goal, but he also knew I needed to be in the business, so when opportunity knocked, I'd be prepared. And when I auditioned for Porky Pig, I wasn't with him anymore. I moved on to another agency. So, okay. But he'd certainly got my career started.
Now, did you get the chance to work with Mel Blanc at all before he had passed?
No, and I was always very sad about that. I met him twice. Once at that studio, and then about maybe 6 months or maybe less before he passed away, he had written an autobiography, and I went to a book signing, and I got him to autograph his book for me.
Now, did you tell him the story of how you met him when you were a kid?
I did, but he had no clue.
Still an amazing
But
story.
he was very nice. I went with my friend Bill Farmer, who's the voice of Goofy, and we were both just thrilled to be able to meet the guy. And then about 6 months later, he passed away, wow. And that was in 1989. And a few months later, Warner Brothers started holding auditions, and I think after about a dozen auditions, maybe more, I booked my first Looney Tunes job in March of 1990.
Wow. That's amazing. Now, do you think, as I was sitting there and I was really, thinking about this, Porky Pig might be, the pinnacle for cartoon voice acting? I mean, it's probably one of the most recognizable cartoon voices.
It was Warner Brothers' first star. It's the easiest voice for me to do. I mean, I've been doing it for so long.
Right.
But, listen, I don't sound like Mel Blanc. I don't think any of us sound like Mel Blanc. I try to keep the integrity of the character. That's my goal every time I hit the mic and work on that character. So right. I'm just, I knock wood every day. I literally pinch myself every time I drive on the lot at the studio. Really? It's me still? You sure?
Yeah, I mean, this has been your dream.
Yeah.
And you made it happen. You have to be blown away at times. I'm really doing what I wanted to do when I was 5 years old. I mean,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah. I mean, when I got the job, my parents took me out to dinner to celebrate, and I got really depressed. And my mom says, "Why are you depressed?" And I said, "Because I just met my lifelong goal at 26. Now what do I do?" And my mom was like, since you were 5, I've been hearing I want to be Porky Pig. Why don't you just enjoy the job?
That had to been like for them too, like to see that really come to fruition. Wow.
Well, the really cool thing was I had just bought my first place, and I was out at a job. My mom was at my house waiting for a couch to be delivered, and she was the one that took the call from my agent that I'd booked my first gig. So that was really, really cool for her to be able to do that.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love hearing these good stories. So now you were actually this is your second nomination, right? Yeah, daytime Emmy been nominated for Porky.
That was my third nomination.
Third, okay. Even
yeah,
better.
It's my first daytime, and I've got 2 primetime.
Okay. Nice. So Porky Pig in a Wabbit.
Well, so the show we did was originally called Wabbit, the first season, and we did 300 shorts, 3 seasons worth, and they've only aired the first season. From season 2 and forward, it was called New Looney Tunes, and I was confused too when I saw that it was still called Wabbit. But it's basically just a new take on the Looney Tunes, and we stopped working on that well over a year ago, and they still haven't aired all the shows. We're working now on a series of new shorts called Looney Tunes Cartoons, which is quite possibly the closest thing I've ever done with this franchise that looks and feels like a 1940s classic Looney Tunes.
Really?
Yeah. It's they're going to be releasing some theatrically. They're going to be releasing some on cable. Some are going to be streaming, but over 200 new shorts.
Holy cow! Like, how many do you know offhand? Like those classic ones that we would watch growing up. Like, how many was there?
Good question. I don't know. My guess would be 500 to 800. That's a guess, and it's a rough guess. But the Looney Tunes, Warner Brothers shut down their animation studio in the early 60s. And from about 62-ish to 68, 69, they hired outside animation companies to do the Looney Tunes. So they really hadn't done just shorts like this, well, let's see, for 50 years. So this is a very exciting project to be a part of. In fact, I literally today just got the invitation to go to a cast and crew screening in June to see the first 40 minutes of shorts. I'm really excited to see it.
That's wild. I literally just flashed back to being a kid, and then I remember I wish I had the notebook still. I used to have 2 notebooks. I had one notebook, and I would literally write down all the Bugs Bunny episodes I would watch, and then I had another one for the Three Stooges.
Oh, of course. I was a huge Three Stooges fan as well. I mean, I was like, yeah. I loved Shemp. I loved the early stuff. Wasn't a big Curly Joe fan towards the later stuff, but I even liked Joe DeRita. I mean, I think it's guys like the Stooges, girls not so much.
Yeah.
But you were diehard. See, I didn't have a notebook, but I did have a tape recorder by the TV, and I would tape Porky Pig cartoons. And in fact, my mom said that the first inkling she got that I could do these voices would be Saturday morning, and she would hear the TV, Porky Pig, saying something like, "Where's Daddy?" And then she'd hear me, "Where's Daddy?" And she thought, why are they doing that line twice? And then she would stand behind me and watch me mimic back to the TV. And I was a kid. I was 5, 6 years old. My voice hadn't changed. I didn't sound as much like the character, but I'd nailed the stutter down.
That's funny. At what point did you realize that you were able to do that voice?
Well, puberty helped. When my voice changed, that certainly helped to be able to get the sound. But the stutter, the ad lib. If you watch Porky Pig and he'll try to say a word and then he'll turn and ad lib something else. The trick is I stutter until I think of something else. So there's no set time of how long I stutter, but I nailed that really, really young. But once my voice changed and I was able to get the sound of the character and put it all together. I've got tapes of me doing Porky on my website before my voice changed. It was terrible. And I've got tapes of me doing Porky when I was in high school. It was a lot better.
That's pretty wild that you kept all those tapes, though.
I have everything. I have every voiceover workshop I ever took from 14 on. I've got every demo. I have every script of every cartoon I've ever worked on in bins, just taking up space in our storage room. So, I'm not a hoarder, but I'm an archivist.
I get that. Like, I would totally want to have all that stuff, especially like all the scripts and everything. Yeah, I mean that's part of your history, but everything you've accomplished.
Yeah, I've got appointment books from the beginning of my career, so I can look back and see when my first audition was, and when my first callback was, and when my callback for Chuck Jones was, and my first animated feature was. So it's really fun to look back at that stuff.
The fact that you have all this stuff, would you like be writing an autobiography or?
I actually am. I'm writing a book right now. It's called Porky Dishes, and it's just anecdotes and stories. No, I wouldn't say it's a linear autobiography, but a lot of the stories I'm telling you here, and just adventures in a voice actor's career. But I call it Porky Dishes, not just for the stories, but every few chapters comes with a delicious pork recipe.
Poor Porky.
Oh, come on! You are what you eat.
Hey,
and I do like bacon. I will not deny it. I do enjoy crisp bacon.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny. So now, when is the daytime Emmys?
Already was.
It was.
Daytime Emmys was a week ago.
Oh, well, fill me in. Did you win?
I did not, but that's okay. I had a blast. Seriously, that little cliche that it's an honor to be nominated is extremely true. It's a very, very fun month-long party. Absolutely.
That's awesome. But at the end of the day, you're Porky Pig. You're the voice.
There you go.
That's all that matters. That's funny. Wow. So anything outside of like voice acting or work? I saw one time you were doing a game show host.
Yeah, a long time ago, I hosted a kid's version of Jeopardy in the 90s called Jep. It's my one and only hosting gig, which was a blast. I had a really fun time doing it. But that was the tail end of where game show hosts actually hosted game shows. Today, if it's a game show, they're getting, major celebrities, sitcom actors. So the days of Peter Marshall and Wink Martindale, they're kind of gone. And I was the tail end of that. It was a lot of fun. I did some sitcom work in the 80s and some soap work, but voiceover's been my bread and butter primarily for my career.
You've done a hell of a job of it.
I've been very, very fortunate, and I don't take any of it for granted. And I count my blessings every single day. Lots of gratitude.
That's awesome. Good for you. This is amazing. I mean, really, like this is like a check off the box of It doesn't matter who I've talked to. I've talked to freaking Bob Bergen, a.k.a. Porky
Pig.
Pig.
So sweet. Thank you.
Well, now you just got to get nominated again for next year.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. It all depends if the product is good and the Emmy voters like it. So that's kind of out of your hands. But we'll see what happens with these new shorts. I'm really proud of them, and I think the fans are going to go, holy cow, they did it again. And I never thought they could.
That's wild. I think you can. I think you can do it again.
Well, we'll see. My fingers are crossed.
Absolutely. Mine too. Cool. So, Bob, where should we send everybody to find you, track you down, social media, all that?
Oh, well, social media, I'm all over the place. Instagram, it's bergen.bob, and Twitter, it's @BobBergen, and I'm on Facebook, and you can probably find me in the phone book. I'm easy to find.
Find in the phone book and find out where he's doing a studio work. And
that's right. See, and by the way, people have tried. And I've had people go, well, can I watch you record? Well, no. Well, you did it. And I know, but that was before we had cell phones where people take pictures and post on social media things they're not supposed to.
Interesting.
I mean, we sign NDAs with every job, every audition these days, so it's awful hard. I wasn't even able to talk about these shorts until recently. We've been working on them for well over a year, so it's a very different business today because of social media, and you don't want things leaked out prematurely.
Yeah, I don't know how, especially like with all these reality shows, like these contest shows, when people win, like I don't know how they do it, and then they can't say anything.
Oh, it's welcome to my world. I mean, and my publicist gets really ticked off. He's like, "What can you talk about?" I'm like, "Not much. I'm working on 4 animated features right now that I can't say a word about. I just did a game I can't talk about. I just booked a brand new series today that I can't talk about. So it gets frustrating, but at the time you can talk about it, it's fun. You absolutely will, but it's at a point where they're ready to promote the product. You just can't talk about it. You can talk about the event, you can't talk about the journey that led you there.
Right. Well, when we can talk about the journey, then you have to come back so we can find out more about the journey.
There you go.
See that? We got this down to a science now.
I like how that works.
So, all right. Well, Bob, before I let you go, and naturally I have to ask you to cut an ID for me because I would be an idiot if I did not.
I see. You get a D- on your job.
Yeah. See? So, in your Porky Pig, or if you want to throw some of the other infamous Looney Tunes characters in there, you do. This is Bob Bergen, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Hang on 1 second. I'm going to give you a couple, okay?
Beautiful.
This is Bob Bergen, and the Porky Pig, and you're listening to the Totally Driven Radio, folks. All right, that's one. You ready for the other one?
Sure.
I'm on Mars listening to Totally Driven Video. Isn't that lovely?
He's here to blow up the Earth.
It obstructs my view of Venus.
Oh, come on. Who doesn't love Marvin the Martian?
All right, so how about... Ooh, I thought I heard Totally Driven Video. I did hear Totally Driven Radio. Did I say video? Bird.
What's up, Tweety?
Ooh, are you a pretty cat?
Oh, no. No.
Ooh, that's good. Those pretty cats are very, very bad. They want to eat me.
Oh, that's amazing. That is freaking amazing. Yeah, bucket list is checked. Bob,
yeah, there you
man.
go.
You are the
my
man.
friend.
Wow. I'm like smiling like a little kid. You just brought the 5-year-old kid down at me again.
All you need now is a little Captain Crunch.
And I got that.
Captain Crunch cutting the roof of your mouth and watching Saturday morning cartoons.
That's it. My night is perfect now. I'm going to finish that up.
There you go.
Thank you. Bob, thanks so much, man. This is truly an honor and pleasure talking to you.
All right, and I have to leave you with that's all, folks.
I would be upset if you didn't.
Right?
Exactly.
All right, my friend.
Take care, Bob.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
There he goes. The one and only Bob Bergen. Wow. Come on. How amazing was that? That was truly like dreams come true here on Totally Driven Radio. How about that? Just talk to freaking Porky Pig, Tweety Bird, and Marvin the Martian. Yeah. Life is beautiful, people. How about that? It is freaking beautiful. Damn.